Hi, bonjour, my name is Tina. I love to yap about books, and today, with no surprises, you've seen it on the title, I'm here to try to deconstruct the image you have of Simone de Beauvoir. She is a huge personality in France and renowned worldwide for what she brought to feminism with her novel The Second Sex. But I bet you do not know about the dark side of Simone de Beauvoir because myself, I'm French. I didn't know about it, so either I'm not educated and I live in a cave, or either we don't want to talk about it. So, by doing this, I hope I'll help you to put things into perspective a little bit, and this way we can all stop to idealize her, please, as a collective mind. Is it possible? So, first, I'll do quickly, I promise, very, very quickly, a reminder of who she is so we can understand a little bit better what the character is. Who is Simone de Beauvoir and why was her novel famous? And then we can dive into the more darker side in light of her works and her personal life, why this author is problematic. Hold on to your seats, I'll spill some dark tea. So, first part is Simone de Beauvoir, a feminist figure of our modern world. Who is she and what's her background? I'm telling you a little bit more about her, not to bore you, I promise, just because I think it's important to understand this, not essential, but quite important information about her so we can understand her better and her personality. You cannot really judge someone without knowing their backgrounds first, and without knowing also where they come from and what might have influenced them. So, born in 1908, she died in 1986, yes, in Paris. Her father is a lawyer and her mother is part of the bourgeoisie of Berlin. She'll be educated during her youth at a Catholic school for girls from the bourgeoisie. And her father thought that she was not feminine enough. He was constantly repeating to her that she had the brain of a man. How nice. She knew already at 15 years old that she wanted to become a novelist, but to please her parents, she put aside her desire to do philosophy studies to do first a BA bachelor at a Catholic college. She'll then start her philosophical studies at the Sorbonne, which is a very prestigious college in Paris and in France overall. And there she'll meet Sartre, who you maybe already know for his philosophical theories about existentialism, mainly. So she has a very wealthy background in the bourgeoisie circle, but she also wants to emancipate from the Catholic education she received. And she'll meet a lot of intellectuals, mostly white men, of course. The Second Sex, a precursor work of feminism, but that is outdated. This non-fiction work, published in 1949, was prominently considered a pioneer for feminism, especially in France, and especially because it was one of the first time that a woman in literature was tackling the fact that gender and sex are different things. Indeed, there are some feminist ideas that you can take from this work that are not too much outdated, but if you put in the context, I did not read the work. I read a lot of reviews and a lot of critics about it because I do not want to spend that much time trying to understand the mind of this woman. You'll understand later. But one of the idea is that she said that we are not born a woman, we become one. Beauvoir asks in the introduction what is a woman, and she reminds us that the binaries between man and woman is only existing as a linguistic constructs. Why am I doing this? Do you want to fight? Do you want to fight? She also recounts the place of a woman in the Western patriarchal modern society, examining social roles of women as opposed to men, arguing that men doing the warring and physical defense while women maintained daily life chores brought about an impression of women as something lesser and an object to protect instead of an equal. This was furthered, she says, when men started to have property, considering women just as another property and not as an equal. There is also the aspect that girls are brought earlier to household chores and caretaking responsibility earlier and the higher degrees of labor than boys, and socialized into believing caretaking is part of their identity, whereas boys enjoy the fruit of the unpaid and the underappreciated labor. And she also tackles the idea that woman is socialized into feeling that she has to feel shame to her body and sexual also desire, where men are not. But as I've said, the execution of this book feels very outdated and there are very frustrating parts, including the one chapter about lesbianism. De Beauvoir makes the assumption that being a lesbian is a choice rather than a destiny, kind of. One made out of social context instead of sexual destiny, I quote. Which is a bad take that assumes that one can only choose to be queer and decide not to be queer as well. She views heterosexuality and homosexuality as equal, though claims that a woman chooses to become a lesbian out of resentment for the limitations of femininity. I'm uncomfortable. And one thing she did not consider as well is intersectionality. She is a white privileged woman in a white privileged world. She is fighting for the white privileged woman. That's why I consider it more as an essay. She just wanted to collect in the same book her reflections coming from a woman who has always frequented white men, white privileged men also. But that's only the surface of why you should have a more nuanced view. So here's the second part, the dark side of Simone de Beauvoir. And we are going to dive into the alleged sex offences on minors. Yes, hold on tight to your seats. Before publishing her novel, The Second Sex, in 1949, yes, she published She Who Came to Stay, which is the guest in French, l'invité, in 1933. And the story of this novel is about Pierre and Françoise. They are an open couple, and Françoise grew fond of a girl who lives in Rouen, and she decides to take her under her wing in Paris because she doesn't really know what to do with her life. And this is where it gets grimmer and grimmer. This is inspired from her threesome with Jean-Paul Sartre and Olga Kosakiewicz. Jean-Paul Sartre, I already mentioned him. She met him during her studies at Sorbonne, and you might know him because he theorized existentialism. They saw each other for quite a long time, but they never married because it was a choice of Simone, apparently. She wanted to keep her independence, and she was afraid that it would degrade their relationship. But the interesting part is, who is Olga? She was a student in the Rouen High School, where Simone was a professor, where she was teaching in high school. I repeat, high school. If you don't have the dates in mind, I'll just remind them to you. It's in 1930, and Olga was born between 1915 and 1917. We don't really know, so she's around 15 to 17. Let's be gentle. Hey, it's editing me. The math, we're not mathing here. She was between 13 to 15, so let's say 15 if we are gentle. Simone is 22. They have a year age gap of 5 to 7 years. Please tell me that if someone in your high school was hitting on the professor, was just wanting to make out with the professor, you were telling them that it was wrong. Please tell me that. What's important to know too is that Simone with Sartre had a pact as an open couple that they could see other people, both of them. Yes, so as in the novel, an open couple, Simone introduces students to Sartre to then make threesome or even foursome indeed because of Laurent Bost, who was also a student of Sartre. And Sartre grew fond of him, but it was not mutual. And it was also in high school. Very important. So as I've said, it was not mutual with Sartre, but with Simone. They had an affair together before Laurent married Olga. Simone was 30. Laurent was 22. There is a pattern here, right? Yes, I don't have the words. So Simone and Laurent exchanged letters for over a year, almost, and they tried to keep it very discreet so Olga couldn't find out because she was very jealous, which was not the case of Sartre because, as I've said, they had a pact, so he didn't mind, So these letters were revealed only after Olga's death. How messed up is this? I don't know. Is it only me? Do you feel the same already? Do you see the red flags already coming? Because that's only the beginning of it. In 1936, she finally secured a post in Paris. She taught at the Lycée Molière between 1936 and 1939, but she was suspended from her post because of her affair with Bianca Benenfield, one of her 16 years old pupils. The daughter of a Polish Jew who had taken refuge in France with his 2 daughters and their mother, who was seriously ill. They have a 13-year age gap. Simone was 29. Might I add that on March 10th, 1930, when Bianca received a letter from Sartre breaking off their relationship, Beauvoir wrote cynically, "She is torn between the concentration camp and suicide." Need I say more? Do I really need to say more? Simone de Beauvoir was suspended once again on 1933 following a complaint alleging that she had encouraged a minor to engage in debauchery, lodged in December 1941 by the mother of another of her pupils, Nathalie Sorokin. The complaint was dismissed, but Beauvoir was permanently dismissed from the French Ministry of Education. The facts are there. This uncertainty over the real reason for her dismissal fueled controversy until the 1993 publication by Bianca Lambeline, who is formerly Bianca Benenfield. She just changed the name. I guess she married or something. She published Memoirs of a Disturbed Young Girl in response to the 1990 publication of Letters to the Beaver. Simone was nicknamed the Beaver, and several other works by Jean-Paul Sartre, in which she realized she had been referred to under the pseudonym Louise Védrine. She then revealed to the public how Simone de Beauvoir and Jean-Paul Sartre had abused her at the age of 16 and wrote, "I discovered that Simone de Beauvoir drew from her classes of young girls a fresh supply of flesh which she savored before passing it on, or to put it even more crudely, passing it on to Sartre." I don't know if I should laugh or if I should cry. The response is definitely crying, but I'm just able to laugh anxiously. On top of all of that, just to understand who Simone is, might I just add that despite all her relationships with female students, she claimed until her death that she has no bisexual identity, which is very denially disturbing. Is it even English? I don't know. Another information which is interesting is that around the 40s in France, the age of sexual consent was 13 years old for heterosexual relationships, but 21 years old for homosexual relationships. So you might say, yeah, but Tina, this was different times, this was different customs, it was a habit for older people to make out with very younger people. It's still the case nowadays. Look at the Epstein's files. What? Did I say that? Who? What? No. First, I would disagree on that, because it's very obvious that Simone took advantage of her position as a teacher with students admiring her, so being very abusive and using this. And also she just could have been a sane human and say no. Yes, but we don't have enough proof that they actually make out we are innocent until you're proved guilty, especially in France. It's not like in the United States. Well, if you're not already grossed out enough, I got you. No worries. Let's talk about the open letter of a pro-pedophile movement. Yes, shall we? I'm gonna read also here because I don't have all the facts in my head, but alongside 68 other French intellectuals, that's a lot, right? Simone signed an open letter by Gabriel Matzneff, published in 1977 in the newspaper Le Monde, which is a big newspaper here in France, Le Monde, calling for the acquittal of 3 men accused of indecent assault without violence on minors under the age of 15 in the Versailles trial. The minors were 13 to 14. They were girls and boys, and it was happening at a nudist campsite. What is very disgusting is that Gabriel Matzneff published a first open letter 2 months prior to this one, named, hold on to your seat, "Is love a crime?" The new one, put forward for signature, also obscures the reality of the offences that justify pre-trial detention, referring to mere kisses and caresses, whilst taking advantage of the fact that the secrecy of the investigation has been maintained, which is often the case with case involving minors, and this was, I think, one of the first time that this was not done in a, when it's not open to public, it's huis clos in French, but I don't have the equivalence in English. I'll just put it on the screen, sorry. The text asserts that the children did not suffer any violence and that they were consenting. It also adds a misinterpretation of the Veil Act, which is an act to decriminalize abortion, which is a very important one. It was enforced in 1974. Remember that for my law studies. If a 13-year-old, I quote, hold on to your seat again. If a 13-year-old girl is entitled to the pill, what is the point of it? Yes, what is the point of it? The text argues that the 3 defendants are facing disproportionate persecution. 3 years in prison for caresses and kisses? That's enough. So, there's more. There's always more. Following this trial, Simon co-signed an open letter to the Commission for the Revision of the Criminal Code, demanding that the legal provisions concerning the seduction of a minor be repealed or radically amended in the spirit of recognizing the right of children and adolescents to have relationships with people of their own choosing. 3 years in prison for caresses and kisses. Enough is enough. Yes, Gérard, enough is enough. Wrote the signatories. Sorry. So this pro-pedophile movement was supported by many intellectuals at that time, including Sartre, Simone, and even Michel Foucault, in case you know him. And cheers to traumatizing entire generations of children for the name of what? The name of love. So different times, maybe, but these people were definitely not on the good side of history, nor humanity. No, no. Et voilà. Do what you want to do with these informations. That's you and your conscience, but I cannot promote Simone de Beauvoir, and I'm really proud to say that I've never read any of her work, and it's just a combination of circumstances. I really do not have anything to be proud of. I did nothing. So I hope that despite the grim theme of this video, you enjoyed it. I took it at heart to talk about it because I see, unfortunately, a lot online people promoting Simone de Beauvoir as a feminist when aside of it she was a very monstrous human. So there are a lot of other feminists out there you can promote, and especially the ones that promotes intersectionality, such as Angela White Davis, for example. I really hope this can reach a lot of people so we can just stop idealizing this woman, please. I'm just so disgusted. I'll just stop there rambling because otherwise it would just be me ranting about it. As always, thank you for clicking. Thank you for watching till the end. I really hope you enjoyed this video, that you're not afraid of me right now. And I hope our ideas converge here. I really hope so. And thus, I hope to see you on the next videos. And most importantly, I hope there's a lot of hope at the end of this video. That this corner will stay a gentle corner, a kind corner. You punks have always been nice around here. I hope it stay that way. And with that, I have to say bye.